What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American, and I'm here in West Africa. I'm in Sierra Leone right now. And if you want to talk about or see about or learn about or hear about whether or not Sierra Leone is on the map, then this video is for you. Yeah. So let's give a second for everybody to get on. That intro was a little off, but you got what I'm saying. This week has been a really crazy, amazing week for Sierra Leone. For those of you who don't know, we'll talk about it in a little bit. As people are joining, let me know if you can hear me. This was a little bit of a late start. Okay, it's cool. So you can hear me on Instagram. I see only DG can hear me on IG, so that's good. I'm live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I haven't moved on to the new platform yet where I will be live on Twitch as well moving forward. I also got some merch coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. Only DG, stay on for a little bit. I will go live with you. Just give me a little second to do my normal intro and, talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about, and then we will go live. Actually, you know what? While we wait for people to go live, while we wait for people to get on, let's go live. You want to go live, only DG? Let's go live. We'll try something new today. We're going to go live right at the beginning of the live with someone. Oh, you declined the live. You asked to go live, and then you declined it. I guess only DG wasn't serious about going live. All right, cool. So there's a lot of people joining. I see on Instagram, people are starting to join, and on YouTube, it's slowly but surely getting up to our normal numbers. So I see a lot of people that I don't recognize. So first of all, let me just do a quick introduction. I'm Joe Hatagwa, or Joannis. Joannis is actually my full name, but most people call me Joe. I have this page, Authentic African, on Instagram and Authentic African on YouTube. And the idea of the channel and the page is just to show people what it's like to move to the continent. At least that's what the YouTube channel is about. Everything from people who decided to move back, people who live here and have businesses. That's my focus really, is around business, industry, culture. And then what my experience has been like moving to the continent. You know, I've been living here now over a year. I live in Ghana full time, but I do come back and forth to Sierra Leone fairly often. And I stay here for extended periods of time. Like right now, I'm going on like 5 weeks here in Sierra Leone. I've been here since the 14th of December. So I guess it's 4 weeks. Hey, Tanya, what's up? Yeah, so that's what the page is about. The page also on Instagram is a little bit more not just about me. It's also about everything happening in Africa and the diaspora. And the YouTube channel is really more about what my personal experience has been like. But let me know if you guys want to join the live. I'm down to talk to people live. But let's first get into some housekeeping, and then we'll talk about the topic. So first things first, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share this with anybody you know. I want to give everybody a second to share this with anybody you might know. Let them know that this live is happening, especially anyone who's planning to come to Sierra Leone or move here. This is really a forum for those people who are considering the move. You know, for me, I was lucky enough to have friends that were here in Sierra Leone already, and people that I knew that were living in Ghana who had left the States. And so I had a bit of an idea of what life could be like here, you know? And so when I decided to move, it was, for me, it was like it was a softer landing, right? It wasn't like I was coming into this blind, right? I had an idea of some of the pitfalls, some of the good things that could happen, things that you need to do to find a job if you don't already have one, all that kind of stuff. I had lots of ideas about that. And so that was really how the transition to moving to the continent really was pretty smooth, because I had, people who I knew that were close to me that were living here. And we just, grown closer in our bonds of friendship, and traveled different places together and all kinds of different things. So, all right, cool. With that, let's jump on into the content. So I'm not sure how familiar you all are with AFCON. I wasn't actually that familiar with AFCON as an American. I'm not really too familiar with international football. I'm more familiar with American football. And so, as you know, in America, and I think in some other places in the world, I hear it, South Africa and some other places, they do call international football soccer. We do in the US. And so that is not a sport that I'm as familiar with. I mean, I understand how to play. I know what a foul looks like. I know what a red card is. I know a yellow card. I know most of the positions and I understand the sport in general. I played the sport as like a, you know, 11, 12-year old, but I'm not as well versed in like who's who, um, all the things that have to do with like the things that are happening within the Euro League and all these different things that are happening in international soccer, right? But I found out about AFCON and before I even got here, and I knew that Sierra Leone was going to be in it. But most people were presuming that Sierra Leone, because we're such a small country and we haven't had such a successful maybe 20 years in the sport, the assumption was that we weren't going to stick around. And so we did actually perform pretty well. So we're going to talk about that today and the importance of that, because I think that that really does a lot for the country and the children of the country. So before I get into it, let's just talk about what AFCON is. So AFCON is the Africa Cup of Nations. It's basically referred to AFCON or CON or whatever. Is known as the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations for, I guess, for sponsorship reasons. This year is the 34th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. It's a biennial international men's football championship of Africa, organized by the Confederation of African Football, the CAF. The tournament this year was being held in Cameroon. Actually, it's the 33rd one. It's held in Cameroon, and it started taking place on the 9th of January, and it will be over by the 6th of February. It was originally supposed to be played in June and July of 2021, but because of unfavorable climatic decisions, blah, 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 they had to move it. So it's happening right now. And, you know, so just to give you an idea of what happened with Sierra Leone. So Sierra Leone played Algeria in the first game, which some of my coworkers, people that I know, assumed that Sierra Leone was going to lose. And Sierra Leone ended that game in a tie, 0-0. So, and the player of the match was our goalie. And forgive me, I don't have his name off the top of my head. Any Sierra Leoneans on here can correct me and let me know what his name is, because I feel bad because I don't have his name. But anyway, I can Google it and I'll get that information for you guys in a second. But that was huge, right? For Sierra Leone to at least tie, which allowed us to remain to fight another day. So that was on Tuesday, January 11th. Then on Sunday, January 16th, yesterday, Sierra Leone was playing Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast has not lost in 8 games prior to playing Sierra Leone. So obviously there was an assumption that Sierra Leone was going to lose that game. And really quickly. So the goalie or the goaltender, his name is Mohamed Balir. Is it Balir? And so he was the player of the match, the first game. So why does that matter, right? You know, it's really important. Well, first of all, let me get back to this Ivory Coast game. So the Ivory Coast game was yesterday, and you know, look, Ivory Coast came out and scored first. So Sierra Leone ended up scoring again and tying it up. So we were excited. I mean, for every goal and for every stop, it's like as if we won the game, right? I mean, because you know, it's a historic moment. So Ivory Coast scores again, and it's like, damn, we got to score again at least to leave with a tie. And the expectation was that we were going to lose, and our guys pulled it through and scored again. So the game ended in a 2-2 tie because the last score was within minutes of the end of the game. Game was over. We're tied 2-2. So next game is against Equatorial Guinea, which we believe that we could potentially beat after coming out against Ivory Coast, who has players that are in international, sports. They're playing in Europe and all kinds of other places. And for us, Sierra Leone's small country, I think with one player or maybe a couple players playing in the U.S. but not really playing in Europe, we were able to pull out the tie against two traditionally stronger countries in terms of their soccer abilities. So why does that matter, right? Why am I talking about this? Because I think that these kinds of things are important for aspiring younger kids who might be athletically inclined and want to pursue a career in this field. And when it comes to sports, right, there are so many other elements to sports than just the athletes on the field, right? There are personal trainers, there's the medical staff, there are agents, right? So there's so many different layers. There are coaches, there are upper management within organizations, right? So there's announcers, sportscasters, right? There's so many different people that revolve around sport. And I think it's really important to have that as an option, not the only option, but as an option for people. And if you don't see it, you can't believe that you can do it. And I always talk about the story of the 4-minute mile to kind of describe why representation matters, why seeing someone do something before you will encourage you to do it. So the 4-minute mile was first achieved in 1954. So nobody had run a mile in under 4 minutes. So a guy named Roger Bannister, he was 25 years old. He ran the mile in 3 minutes, 59 seconds, 0.4, right? Nobody had done it in human history, at least as long as they had been clocking the mile. This guy does it in 1954. The next year, 36 people run the mile in under 4 minutes, right? Because they seen somebody do it. So that led to the belief that they can do it. I always talk about the number of Black billionaires in the world, African billionaires and Black billionaires, right? It was Bob Johnson when he sold BET. Then it was Oprah with Harpo and OWN Network and her, many businesses. And then, Jay-Z is a billionaire. Kanye is a billionaire. And then you have all these billionaires on the continent, right? So, once you see it, you can believe it and you can achieve it. And then back to the 4-minute mile. Now, since 1954, 1,400 athletes have run the mile in under 4 minutes, right? Because once you see that it can be done, it makes it so that you can believe that you can do it. And this is why representation matters, which is why it's so important for Sierra Leone to continue to advance in this tournament, because there's a lot of pride, of course, in the country. And there are those who are young who can be inspired by what is happening. I know a lot of people who aren't into sports don't really understand that, but once you see sports and you see people apply themselves and you learn the lessons that can come from sports, it really helps to understand why people are so into it. Anyway, with that, I got a few comments so far. So Alicia Koo is saying the best football team is from Ghana. Listen, I'm not going to debate that. I can only debate Jollof, but maybe, who knows? I mean, there are going to be people who dispute that, of course, all the time, because it's like that. Okay, so Fode was saying the Sierra Leone goalkeeper is actually Mohamed Kamara. It's Belai Kamara. So yeah, his last name is Kamara. Kwesi is saying, Kwesi is saying, my dear brother, you're doing very well for Sierra Leone. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, so that was the thing that I wanted to mention right off the bat, is that I think that this is really big for locally, for us, for country pride, for putting us on the map, for people to know who we are. There was an announcer at the beginning of the game before it started, and she was calling it the Leone Stars, because I don't think she's ever actually had to say the name Sierra Leone before. So it's the Leone Stars, right? But she was calling them the Leone Stars because Sierra Leone is just not a country she's probably familiar with, which, it has something to do with the fact that we're not on the world stage in a lot of different ways. And so this allows us to be there. So, it's exciting times for us. And beyond that, I think our goalkeeper from Sierra Leone will likely get a contract in Europe. And I think with that, that'll just continue to increase our profile and improve the life, of course, of his family And yeah, and I expect that we will have more people to be able to grow and build up, our sports within the country and of course internationally. All right. So with that, there was not a lot more to say except I think our next match with Equatorial Guinea is, so for those of you who are Sierra Leonean or even care to watch, let me tell you when the next match is. So our next match is on the 20th at 4 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. So we're playing Equatorial Guinea, Thursday the 20th. So yeah, if you're interested, that's when it is. So I'm excited about that. I'll be watching that match live, of course. All right, cool. So some other updates from me. People are always asking me this, so I'm going to give you the updates. So first things first, I usually put out 3 videos a week. That when I say usually, I mean like that was November, and then December, of course, you guys all know the COVID thing and slowed me down a bit. Excuse me, but I'll likely be putting out 3 videos starting next week again to get that back going again, because it's been far too long since I've been putting out 3 videos a week. And I want to make sure I'm giving you guys content so you know what's going on. I've had some really incredible interviews that I've done that finally have been finalized and finished and edited. So I'm looking forward to sharing those interviews with you all. Some people who I know who moved back to Sierra Leone are doing some big things here. And some people that I know who are actually on the way to moving. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff I think might be good for you guys to hear. I know I always tell my story, but I think it'll be good for you guys to hear other people's stories as well. All right, so on that, well, let me ask you guys this, because I see new people on here. Where's everybody watching this stream from? Let me know on Instagram Live. Let me know on YouTube. Where are you guys watching this from? Mr. Bounce Los Angeles joined. Shout out to you. What's up, Mr. Bounce Los Angeles? Salute. So let me know. Let me know where you guys are from. Obviously, I know Mr. Bounce Los Angeles is watching from LA, of course. On YouTube, let me know. On Instagram, let me know. I know there's a bit of delay because I'm using StreamYard, so there's a little bit of a delay on YouTube. But let me know. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I'm still in Freetown right now. Cool. Anne Marie Harding is in the UK. Shout out to you in the UK. So we're on the same time zone. It's 9:17 over there as well. Where's everybody else from? Drop it off in the comments. Let me know. Where's everybody watching from? Okay. So Lila Davis is from New York. Long live Mama Salone. Shout out to you. NY. So I lived in Brooklyn for almost my entire adult life, minus like 5 years. Well, now 6 years since I've been out here. But I lived in New York basically for 15 years. 15 years. 15 years total, yeah. And then as a kid, my mom lived in New York. Nima is in LA. Okay, what's up, Nima? So I lived in LA for 4 years, as I mentioned on a previous live. I worked at Hulu. For those who don't know, I worked at Hulu for 4 years. It was an interesting job to have. I definitely felt like I wasn't doing anything worthwhile, which is why I quit abruptly. Well, not really abruptly, but I quit in January of 2020. And by the end of 2020, I made the decision to move to Africa, and I was in Ghana. So, okay, so Lila lives in Brooklyn. Nice. Yeah, so I lived on Flatbush by Prospect Park for a while, and then for a year before I moved to LA, I lived in downtown Brooklyn. I did a quick upgrade for about a year, and then I moved to LA. No Narrative says, shout out to Brooklyn, where you're from, watching from Newark. Shout out to you. Yeah, Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn. I represent for Brooklyn every time I can. Mr. Bounce Los Angeles, of course, is calling from LA, watching from LA. Miss P is in from Jersey. Alicia is from Amsterdam. Shout out to Amsterdam. We'll be soon in Accra. Okay, cool. Alicia will soon be in Accra. That's cool. And King Wilfred is in Florida. Nice. I lived in Jacksonville for a year. I lived in a lot of different places. I lived in Jacksonville for a year. My mom actually lives in Jacksonville now. So shout out to Florida. Okay, David is in Bay Area. I used to go there a lot for work, like 4 times a year, 5 times a year. So I'm really familiar with the Tenderloin and damn, now I'm forgetting everything. I'm forgetting everything about San Francisco. Higher Blessings is from White Plains, New York. Nice. Shout out to White Plains, right above New York. We have a family friend that's there right now. She bought a house out there. All right, cool. So we got people from all over the place, but noticeably mostly from the UK and the US, which is what my stats say about this channel, is that most people are in the US and in Europe. So I hope that that I've been giving you good insight into what it's like to move here and your thoughts about potentially moving here. Have any of you guys considered moving? I want to ask you guys some questions now. Mr. Bounce Los Angeles, by the way, is saying peace to all his Angelinos out there. There's a few, actually. So shout out to Mr. Bounce Los Angeles. Have you guys ever considered moving to the continent? And if so, what's stopping you? And if not, why not? Let me know. I'm interested to hear this from you guys. If anybody wants to go live with me, we can talk about it live, or you guys can send it in the comments and I'll read them out loud. Let me know if anybody wants to go live on YouTube. I'll be down to do it. So Alicia Koo is saying, as a Polish who has lived in several European countries, I'm very happy that I'm now part of Ghana. Nice. What else we got? Yeah, so I'm going to shoot this to the YouTube community. So if you guys want to go live with me, I haven't done it in a while. And so I do want to share it with you guys if you guys do want to go live. Wait, how do I add someone to live again? Invite. Okay, I actually want to share. I can't remember how to get people on the live again. Yeah, I haven't. So you guys can tell I don't use this very often. This is for guests. Maybe this is the live stream link. Let me send this link and see if that works. If anybody wants to go live, let me know. All right, cool. But in the meantime, Anne-Marie Harding is saying, I'm considering moving to Senegal or Rwanda. Okay. Okay. What got you interested in potentially moving, and why did you choose those 2 countries? I'm really interested. So let me know, Anne-Marie, and we'll get back to you. And Higher Blessings, I'm going to answer your question in just a second, but I just want to address Mr. Los Angeles real quick, since he mentioned he considered it and wanted to, but I broke off a relationship with a woman who was going to move with me. Okay, got it. So where did you consider moving to, Mr. Bounce Los Angeles? And are you still considering it, even though you're no longer moving with your ex? And Higher Blessing was asking, was it hard finding a job there? To be honest, for me, no. But I also, people say it sounds easy, how easy I got my job. But I think the reason why I got the job the way I did is because of what I understand to be true about networks. So, you know how people say it's not what you know, it's who you know. I always take it a step further. It's not just who you know. It's who knows you and who knows what you do well and is willing to talk about you when you're not around, right? In a positive way. That's really what's important, right? So the way I got the job was I have a peer mentor, someone who's a little younger than me, but has had a career that's a little more impressive than mine. You know, he's lived in London, Nigeria. He lives in South Africa. He has his own startup. He's raised some money for it. I might have mentioned them before. He's raised like $8 million for his startup. So he's had a pretty impressive career so far. And he's also on the board of my boarding school as a 35 5-year-old. I guess he's about 35 now. And he's on the board of the boarding school that we went to. Is usually older white men, and he's, Sierra Leonean, mid 30s, right? So pretty impressive. He knew the CEO of Jumia Ghana, the former CEO of Jumia Ghana. He did an intro for me, and it just so happens that the person that was my predecessor in my role before me quit, and her and I had a conversation, and within 3 months I had the job. So, it had a lot to do with people that I know who I've been communicating with, who felt confident enough to be able to make an intro on my behalf. So it just kind of went that quickly. But I had been going through the interview process for almost a year. So it definitely is something that requires some previous experience, that is good experience that's easily translatable or transferable to whatever you want to do. I actually want to move into startup investing and advising and looking at incubators to make that step first. And so I started reaching out to incubators and working with them as an advisor for their startups to help me make that transition. So I'm the type of person that takes that extra step. And so I'm working with 3 incubators: Google for Startups, MEST, and Founders Institute. And so, but you have to be willing to do those kinds of things for things to happen quicker than it does for other people, right? Because I go above and beyond and do what most people won't. I do now what others won't, so I can have later what others can't. That's a long way to answer your question, but it does require a lot of extra work to make things happen that quickly. So within 3 months, I had a job in Ghana, to round out to fully answer your question. Hope that helps. Okay. So Mr. Bounce Los Angeles said in 2019, it started with the year of return and watching Wode Maya and Boris Kojo and all of them. Okay. And so that was the original plan. So you're planning to move to Ghana. Okay. Well, invitation's still open. You should definitely move to Ghana for sure. Higher Blessings is saying, awesome, good. I'm glad that answered your question. But yeah, I would say it's even better now than it was then, because there's so much new infrastructure and things in place. As someone that's planning to move, so I would say that if you want to do it, positives were the developing of the country, the dollar transfer, easier transition with them speaking English. Yeah, so that's why it's easier to move to Ghana. Which is why I didn't have Ivory Coast or Senegal on my list. I know 0 French. And so I just knew that it would be more difficult for me to go to one of those 2 countries that are Francophone, whereas the Anglophone countries are a little bit easier for me. Obviously, ideally, I would have wanted to come to Sierra Leone, but unfortunately, most of the businesses here are in the nonprofit sector or NGOs. And I don't have any international nonprofit experience or a master's degree. Therefore, the roles that I would have to get would not be commensurate with my experience. It'd probably be more entry-level roles, and it just was not appealing to me. So Ghana was where it made the most sense for me to go initially. But of course, Sierra Leone is always home, which is why I spent significant amounts of time here. Okay, cool. So David is saying, in the future, yes, potentially moving to the continent, but family and other obligations is the reason why you haven't as of yet. Okay. Nima is saying, did you recommend waiting until you get to Sierra Leone to find a job? So my job is actually in Ghana. I should mention that. So I am the head of advertising for Jumia Ghana. And so I actually technically am a Ghanaian resident as of right now, and I work in Ghana, but I'm in Sierra Leone right now because I'm building a house, and I'm in the process of just making sure that gets off to a good start. I had to fire my previous contractor, so I have a new contractor, and so that's why I'm here. But I do recommend before moving anywhere that you have a job first. The challenge with moving to the continent is that a lot of people talk about it, but aren't actually about it. And so there is a lot of skepticism with human resources departments with hiring someone who's in the diaspora saying they're going to move, especially if they haven't already lived here, because the fear is that they might flee and move back. So that was actually why I wasn't getting any of the jobs that I was applying for back in June and July of 2020. But I also had been doing some contracting work and some consulting work. And I actually got more consulting work from one of the hiring managers from one of the companies that I interviewed for. Her and I actually became friends. She moved on to another company, and they gave me some consulting work. So if you have other means of income, I would say then it makes sense to move, but you obviously are going to have to pay to live. And so it can be challenging to move to a completely new place without any income whatsoever, any new income. So that would be something that I recommend. And it also depends on what industry you're in too, right? So, for me, I'm in advertising. And I know that there's always a shortage of talent in my industry. And I know that also coming from the US, it might have been seen as someone with more knowledge, maybe than some more people that might have been local in terms of the advertising, because digital advertising was specifically what I focus on, and even more importantly, automated advertising. It's just not something that has a ton of people on the continent doing. So I have that added benefit of having multiple years of experience, more than anyone else that you'd find here in Ghana. And so that made it a little easier for me. And then also I had the in with someone who knew someone there. So yeah, I mean, I would say I always recommend that you have a job before you move anywhere, to be honest with you, or at least you have at least 6 months or a year, let's say a year of savings saved up, so that you don't get desperate and then have to move back, but you do need to be here a little bit to start to develop a network. It's a lot harder to do it from other places. Like, you need to be in the presence of people, meeting people out at events, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend for sure having a job before you come here, if you can. Disco Dan is in the building. What's up, Disco Dan? So No Narrative says, I will have a base in Africa. I'd like to be there a quarter of the year, but family is extremely important to me. Probably Rwanda or Senegal for me as well. Why? Okay, so these two countries, I'm wondering why people are picking Rwanda and Senegal. So I think both Blessings and No Narrative mentioned it. So definitely tell me why you guys chose those places. Leela says, I definitely plan on moving back to Salome by God Power. I'm a teacher now. I plan on giving back by building and leading a school in Freetown in the future. Awesome. That's a goal of mine too. It's been a goal of mine since 2007 to have a school in Sierra Leone. And I really wanted to teach, start and focus mostly on African history. Like all of African history, but also specifically Sierra Leonean history. And but like I wanted that to be the main focus along with everything else. But to me, I think that that's super important, because I think history echoes, or it's like a mirror, whatever they say the quote is, but it really helps you to understand the future if you understand your history and where you come from, and the things that happen in history, so we don't repeat those mistakes and we learn from them. So like I went to school called Milton Hershey School, but the original title of the school was Hershey Industrial School. And so what I would like to do is do the same thing, but call it the Hatagwa Industrial School, and also not only teach history, but also then teach practical skills, right? So like basically the Hershey Industrial School was built during the time that factories were very prominent, and hands-on skills were important, right? So hard skills instead of soft skills. So like hands-on skills. And I know that on the continent, that's going to be very important as we get more cars, and hopefully eventually we start going to electric, and more factories start coming here, and all those kinds of things, right? You want to have people to have that kind of skill set. Beyond that, I want, to work with kids in the same way I had access to be able to get my nurse's aide license in high school. So I was able to work as a nurse's aide freshman year in college. I'd love to be able to do the same for students here, really be able to give them that chance to start early if that's something they want to do and go into the medical field. So like what I had access to, I'd like to give the same access to the next generation of Sierra Leoneans. So I'm with you on that. I love the idea of building a school. All right, cool. So I'm going to go back to Instagram, and then I'm going to go back to YouTube. Stuff's coming in from YouTube. So Cali Calv, what's up? Cali Calv's in the building. Shout out to you. And Higher Blessings. I don't know what that means. What is Gene PA? I'm not sure what that means. Help me out. Are you asking what's going on in PA? I don't know. Yeah. Can you rewrite the question? Blessings. I want to know what you mean. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Um, all right, cool. And oh, I forgot to pin. If you guys want to watch on YouTube Live, I can post and pin the comment too. Up to you guys, but make. Oh, okay. Yes, that is Milton Hershey School is in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Yes. So yeah, I was in Hershey. I went to boarding school in Hershey, Pennsylvania for 13 years. Yeah, 5 to 18, 89 to 2002. All right, cool. So let's get back to it. Okay, so so we already went through Leela's. So Disco Dan back on this topic again. The cannabis situation in Sierra Leone. Here's how the cannabis situation is for those of you who are interested. It's here. It's technically illegal, as is in most countries, I think, until the international community finally wakes up to, the benefits for them financially and potentially health benefits. I think it's important to start to really consider moving away from the prohibition of cannabis and remove this prohibition. I think it's ridiculous, especially when alcohol is legal. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing, but it's here. And some people might say that, in general, it's very basic. But sometimes you can find very good cannabis, but you have to be careful in this country because people are starting to do new things and add things, as you might see sometimes in the US. When something's illegal, it's always more dangerous, right? Because there's no kind of regulation and no enforcement of regulation. So people do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. So when I lived in California, I obviously had access to the best of the best cannabis. And you can make sure you knew what was in it. If there was pesticides used, all kinds of checks were done on that stuff. When you come to a place like Sierra Leone and you want to decide you want to partake in some cannabis, you do have to worry about potentially other things being in it. And so, obviously, you want to make sure you buy from people who know are reputable, that through other people. And there's a thing here that these younger kids are doing, and even some people in their 20s and 30s, and they're calling it Kush, which usually is a brand of cannabis in the United States. Here, it reminds me of that synthetic stuff that kids were doing in the US that was like a hallucinogen. If you guys remember, there was like a viral moment. I think Miley Cyrus even once had this viral moment where she hit, I can't remember what it's called, K2 or something like that, and she looked like she was seeing stuff. That's what I think this is, the synthetic stuff that's here, and people are smoking it. And so you just have to be careful. Also, people are using cocaine here too, which I hear about. And so sometimes people are putting that in cannabis. But anyway, not to get off topic, because that is something that many people I'm finding don't really care about on our live. There are a few people that do, but most people don't. But I always want to answer all your questions. But anyway, it's basically basic if I can speak to the general cannabis situation. Yeah. No Narrative says, I do plan to be on multiple coasts of Africa, but for living, Senegal and Rwanda seem to be a place my dad would like. He's getting older. I want things easier for him. Nice. Yeah. I love that idea. Yeah. My mom is moving to Sierra Leone, actually, when she's retiring. And the place that we're working on building right now, she'll be living in the house. And so Disco Dan asks, what tribe are you? So technically, I'm Mende and Creole. For those of you who don't know, Creole tribe is actually a mixture of many tribes because it was freed slaves from Nova Scotia, and they settled in Sierra Leone. So I may have other African nationalities in me, but as far as I know, in terms of my two main tribes, but my dad's mother is from Guinea, which means that I'm Mandingo as well. So Mandingo, Mende, and I'm also Creole. But again, Creole can mean a bunch of different things because they were freed slaves who came from Nova Scotia, Canada, that is. So about 1,023 of them came to Sierra Leone and helped found Sierra Leone with some British abolitionists in the 1800s, early 1800s, late 1800s. Somebody's gonna have to correct me on that one, but the late 1800s. Yeah, the late 1800s. They founded Freetown. Helen Brown, what's up? What's up, Helen? Okay, cool. So No Narrative says Rwanda is very modern and they have a nice and attractive older repat community for my dad. Investment friendly for international community who want to get into agriculture, especially cannabis and coffee. There you go. So there it is. Rwanda sounds good. And so for those of you asking, maybe that's where you look at. It seems like cannabis is alive and thriving in Rwanda. I think most of the continent of Africa really has fertile land to grow. That's why agriculture is so big and ag tech is so big. But it does pose some challenges when the governments always want to make it illegal. Okay, so let me go through some of the comments on Instagram. So Mr. Bounce Los Angeles says people choose Rwanda because the women are beautiful. It seems progressive. Kigali is arguably the cleanest city in the world. Beautiful rainforest, good weather, safe and inexpensive. Okay, there you go. That answers it. Kalikov says that African needs to be made for Africans. We can do all the changing and changes that we want, but until Africa becomes ours again and not in the hands of the colonizer, we'll always be under the system of oppression. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I'm so focused on school later down the line, but really first, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. I think, I'm a responsible capitalist. I'm left leaning in terms of the political spectrum, but I'm also big on capitalism because that's the world we live in and that's what we got to work with it. And since we do, there are ways to do it. The information is out there. And I think it's important that because in this world of the capitalistic world and society we live in right now, entrepreneurship gives you independence, right? For so many different reasons, it gives you independence, right? You get to make your own hours. You can fire clients, right? You can decide who you want to work with, right? You're not dependent on the government or government jobs, which is something that I hear as a complaint in the US, but also as a complaint here on the continent. And so as an entrepreneur, you determine your own fate, right? Which is super important. So for me, I'm a big advocate in entrepreneurship. And I also think governments move slow and they're meant to move slow purposefully, right? And so, and that's fine, but entrepreneurship allows things to happen faster. And so it's required and necessary. And so I'm a big advocate for helping entrepreneurs, which is why I want to get into investing in entrepreneurs and advising entrepreneurs, because I think that is the way that we move forward as a continent in each of our individual countries, help us to take our rightful place on the world stage as we have been in previous years and we will be again. So, and I think that'll be through entrepreneurship. I think Africa has the most natural resources and the most human resources. And I think it's underutilized and undertapped by our own people. And you can see that other countries are definitely opening their minds to it and opening their eyes to it and taking full advantage. And I don't think we are doing enough of it, which is a big part of why I started these channels, the Instagram page and the YouTube channel was really to try to do my part in sharing the word, spreading the word, and getting people interested in coming back, advising, investing, moving, visiting, whatever it is. Because I think all of that helps to contribute to moving us forward. All right, that's my moment on the soapbox. Back to earth. Jose Cruz, what's up, man? What's up, Jose? No Narrative says traditional meaning of Creole just means born in a new world, FYI. Yeah. So Creole, yes, that does. Now, our version is spelled Krio in Sierra Leone. But I think it also kind of does mean something like that, right? I mean, I've also heard that it could mean like a mixture of two things. So, and we have a different spelling of it, but yeah, so the Creole tribe is Krio, but it might have been spelled that way based on Creole, if you guys know anything about Creole, we like to butcher words and change them around and make them sound different and even spell them differently. So that could quite possibly be the origins of the word. So yeah, interesting. I love that our chat always has good information. Jose Cruz is heading out, but thanks for joining. I'm always happy to see you on. Roost Diaspora says approximately 1,196 Black Americans left Nova Scotia in January 15th, 1792, and founded the colony on March 17th, 1792. See, there you go. March 11th. Sorry, January 15th, and founded the colony on March 11th. So I got the dates wrong and I got the number wrong, but it was over 1,000. And it was in 1792, not the 1800s, as I initially thought. So it was the end of the 1700s. And so that group, along with the Nigerians, as far as I understand, is who built what is now called the Creole tribe. If you notice, Creole and Nigerian Pidgin are very close. If you ever hear Nigerians speak their Pidgin, Sierra Leoneans tend to understand it, and they understand our Creole. I have some Nigerian friends that I speak Creole with, and they understand what I'm saying. And when they speak their Pidgin, I understand what they're saying. All right, cool. And Jose Cruz says responsible capitalism is the future of Africa. I agree 100%. If you see a lot of the startup founders here in Africa, a big part of their mission is always to help the world around them, right? When you think about most of the Silicon Valley startups, right, in San Francisco, most of them are just about scaling and making the most money possible and being in the hands of most people. And they'll have some kind of change the world view that they put on it. But many of them, when they grow really, really large, they end up doing a lot of harm and some good, right? Like Facebook's a good example where it was like, we want to connect the world, right? But the problem with that is not always thinking about what are the potential negative outcomes of everyone in the world being connected, and how do you put guardrails on it to make sure that that connection doesn't lead to misinformation, mass shootings, suicides, all those kinds of things that do happen on these platforms in a live environment, right? And when you move with that kind of speed and you move with that kind of belief system, you tend to have issues. Whereas a lot of the companies you see here, they have a sustainability element, or there's a built-in element of it, is like doing something in the community. I remember I met a woman who had a clothing line, and then I met her, and she was talking about how, part of it is taking some of the girls who are on the streets working, in sex work, and giving them a skill, right? Because obviously that doesn't last forever. At some point, you can't continue to do that. And so, teaching them to sew and giving them skills, right? And then actually paying them for this so that they didn't necessarily have to do that because they were doing that because that was the only option, right? And so, just different things like that. I mean, I met a woman who was starting a cotton company, and portion of her proceeds went to the sustainability of cotton, because apparently it can be really bad for the environment, the way people do cotton farming now. So she had a sustainable version of it. She was also putting young ladies to work, like just really finding ways to help the community around you. So that's really what I love about businesses on the continent. And so that's why I'm so big on people investing in businesses here. And the more I'm here, the more I'll get into it. And I'm putting the fund together at some point in time in the future within the next year or two. And when I do that, I'll make sure that you guys are all aware, and we can start talking about investment discussions. And maybe I'll have a whole separate live weekly where we talk about the investments that are happening for those who are interested in that in particular. So No Narrative says, so most slaves in the West were considered Creole once upon a time, then the definition changed. Okay, there you go. Salon Roots says, I love these lives. Well, Salon Rasta says, I love these lives. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you watching the lives. I love that you guys are here supporting. All right, what do we got? Does anybody want to go live with me today? How long have we been on? So we've been on for 49 minutes. Okay. I almost always can kind of tell when we're about at an hour. I'm getting used to this at this point in time. But does anybody want to go live? I'll be more than happy to go live and talk to someone directly, or we can keep doing the question and answers. I think it was really interesting to hear why and where people would move to in Africa. I always like to hear from people. Does anybody have any other questions for me, by the way? Any specific questions for me about what it's like living here, what my last week has been like? Maybe I can go through my last week so you guys know what's going on. So I might have mentioned the first week of January, I fired my second contractor. And I mentioned this, I think, on last Monday's live, but he just was dropping the ball in every sense of the word. Like, he just was not doing what was necessary to move this project forward. And the place that I'm staying in right now, the owner here, he has a contractor that had redone his porch and did an excellent job. So he is who I am now using as my contractor, and we've made significant progress. You know what? Let me show you guys some of the progress we've made. Actually, maybe that could be interesting to you guys. You guys want to see that? Let me know. Let me know in the chat if you guys want to see the progress that we've made so far. Anybody? Let me know. Well, I guess I'm going to show it to you anyway. If you're on Instagram, you probably won't be able to see this because I'm about to do it on YouTube Live, but the YouTube link is pinned. So if you want to just click on the link that's pinned and just watch it on YouTube, I'll show it. Okay, so Empress K says she's interested, and Leela says she wants to see. All right, cool. So let me show you guys. Let me share my screen. I'm going to share my second screen. I hope this doesn't give anybody anxiety. All the different folders I open. So this is my life, guys. A little bit of a view into my life. So all of the different videos that I have yet to edit are in their own folders. This is the Ghana videos, and then I have my Sierra Leone videos, and I have Egypt. Anyway, these are the lives when I go live. Here are the different videos that I do when I go live, the thumbnails, and then anyway, so there's a little peek into the background. So last week, the week before last, this is where we were. Let me see if I can find the video to show. Yeah, let me just open some of these up. So we added water. Here, let's do this. Okay. So we added a water line so that we could have water directly, and they started beating blocks. So they did about 300 blocks in a day. So this was the foundation that it took. You see this part here? I don't know if you guys can see my mouse here. Yeah, you can. So this foundation is the foundation that is the full foundation of the building, right? So this is literally, you know what? Let me do this for all of my people on Instagram Live. Oh shoot. For all my people on Instagram Live, let me do this for you guys. It's the first time I've ever done this, so let's see if this works. Okay, so you guys can see my screen, right? All right, so this was the foundation, the original foundation of the boys' quarters, right? Which is where the caretakers are going to live eventually, and where I will be staying. And you can see these pillars, or all the pillars where all the different doorways and the hallways are going to be. And so my new contractor had all of these blocks built. These are cement blocks. They were all built within a morning. This was the first morning that those blocks were built. So that was what is the information on here? That was okay, that was on the 7th of January, right? So that was on the 7th of January. Let me show you guys where we are now as of the 17th of January. Let me just do this. This is probably the easiest thing to do. Then I can just put it all up at once. Okay. So as time went on, we started. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay, so as time went on, we started getting the walls up. So you can see the walls here, the room delineation starting to be put up, right? And so that's where we were as of earlier this week. And then you see more work happening. And now the walls are like 10 feet high. So this was the cementing of one of the floors just to make sure that it was the right level. That's one of the bathrooms. That's going to be a bathroom there. This is what it looks like from the outside. These guys had to cut down part of this tree because it was growing over it. They were bringing in some more wood. And so this is the tie beams at the top. This wood is really what helps to put the doorways. And then, of course, you're going to have things coming out of this so that the roof can go on top of it. But this is where we are as of a few hours ago. Let me see if I have. Oh, that's something different. That's from the other night, the other day. Okay, so do I have any other pictures that show where we are? I think that last one was probably the best description of where we are. Okay, actually, you know what? This is good. This is good. Let me share these two. Okay. Um, this is a better depiction of what it's starting to look like now. So we're growing. The height is going up, right? All the different walls. So you can see it from the outside. It's high, right? The ceilings are high. You can see this guy's about 5'7". So you can see these ceilings are 10 feet high. So there's gonna be plenty of space inside, so it doesn't feel so, like claustrophobic, right? And it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom boys' quarters. So that way, when my mother comes, she'll be able to stay there. When I'm here and we overlap, we'll both be able to stay there. And so that's what's being worked on. So a significant amount of money has gone into this so far. A little over just the building of this structure and the what do you call it? The the base of it. That was right around in total, I think about $14,000 so far, I think is what we spent. And so we got another couple thousand left to go. I think about five to 8,000 left to finish this, and then some finishing the level work. But we're getting there though. I mean, a lot of work has been done. This is the last 10 days. All these walls have been put up. All of that has been done in the last 10 days. So I'm really excited about it. I got a real contractor that knows what he's doing now. So we're seeing some real progress there. All right, cool. So that's that. Any questions on anything? I haven't been looking at my my comments because I'm trying to hold the phone for Instagram and then also navigate the screen as well. So let me know if you have any additional questions on anything. Let's see. Let me stop sharing my screen and see what people. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to stop sharing my screen. My bad, guys. Did I just cut everybody off? Oh, shoot. Okay, so everybody's still there. You guys can see me, right? Okay, cool. So, Empress K says, whoa. Okay, cool. How much are the annual salaries for the property caretakers once build is complete? So that's a good question. And I think it's different for everyone, right? So, right now, at least they're staying on my property for free because it's just free rent. And it's like a family friend. He's been our driver and things like that. But I think most people get like between like $50 and $100 a month, depending on, Sierra Leone, it's a little lower than what you usually get like in like Ghana, for instance, because the average person makes between $50 and $75 a month. Now, my caretaker, though, he is also going to be able to have a job, right? So, because he really isn't going to be doing much work on the property. He'll just be driving me around when I need to drive. But I want him to be able to continue to work and do other things because he shouldn't just be working for me for the rest of his life, right? He and I have talked about this. So he has a job currently, actually. So, but his wife will also be helping my mom cook and things like that. But you know what? Let me get back to you on that because I hear between 50 and 100, but that's a pretty wide range. So let me see what people are normally paying, and I'll let you know what those numbers are. Okay. Anyway, my contractor just messaged me. Sorry, I was a little distracted. He was supposed to meet with me at 7, and he wasn't able to because it's been crazy with traffic, and he was stuck at the property for a while. Leland's saying, while big distance, they're moving super fast in a short period of time. That's fantastic. Yes, these guys are really good, and they're efficient, and the work they do is good work. So really good, really, really good work. No Narrative says, wow, that's amazing. How far do you want them to get before you go back to Ghana? Seems like the building for repats are taking forever. Yeah, so some building for repats does take a while, especially if you are someone who I've been going through different contractors, right? And so the contractor that I have now is someone who can get the job done and get it done quickly and can let me know when he has other stuff going on. That was the big thing about my last contractor, is he was not communicative. This one communicates just the amount that I need. And so what I'd like to be done is just the walls and all of this up until maybe even starting the building of the roof. I just need to get an estimate on what can be done, what can't be done, because the whole next phase, it's supposed to be the roofing and everything. And we've already spent about about 6,000, about 5,000. 5,000 out of the 7,000 for this phase 2 has already been paid. And so I think we're going to do another 2,000. That'll, I think, close out this phase. And then the next phase is supposed to be the roofing and then all the finishings. But we can see how much of the roofing we can get done depending on the cost. We're trying to just get through this and get it done as soon as possible. I'm trying to have this thing built before I get back in April, so I no longer have to spend money to stay anywhere. I'll have plumbing, electricity, solar, everything before the time I come back in April, or at least when I get here in April, we'll be putting the final finishing touches on the property. But all good questions. Jose saying the house looks great. Thank you. Good evening, Joe. This is Aiko. I sent you an email about 3 weeks ago to connect with a nonprofit organization. Yes, Aiko. Okay, Abu Kamara. Yes. So I'll say this on every live. I'm really behind on my emails. I try to check them once a week, but with what happened with the pandemic and me catching COVID at the end of last year, I really was not. I was out of it. So I missed like 2 weeks of posting and checking emails, all of that stuff. So I'm back on it now, slowly but surely. But if if I need to get back to you, I will be getting back to you soon. Nima saying, is there an app there like Angie's List or TaskRabbit, something that has ratings for contractors? There isn't, unfortunately. I've seen people try to put together apps for something similar, like finding prices for different things. I knew a guy in Kenya that's actually working on something like that. But no, there's no like TaskRabbit that I know of, at least at this point in time. But yeah, I think that would be great. I think that would hold more people accountable too, right? If you had a rating system. Sounds like a great business idea. If you know any engineers who want to do it, it's definitely something that can be done. Or if we can just start encouraging people to start using TaskRabbit here, which probably is a little bit easier to do. That's actually a good idea. I might start talking to people about that. Because I think this will be really helpful to know, like, who knows what they're doing and like who's been bad, so that you don't hire them. No Narrative says, amazing job, Joe. Is it best to break building down in phases? This is such great info. It is is it best to break it? Okay. Yes, it is. I would say it is, just depending on your finances, right? Like, and also you want to project manage it, right? And move into parts. Even if I was here full time, I would still break it into phases. Just for me, I think it makes the most sense. Let me see if I have actually the document, so I can just show you guys what the phases look like. Since this seems interesting to you guys, I want to share with you what that looks like. I may actually not have it on this email. I might have to give myself access from another email address, which I don't know if I can do in real time here. And it's with speed since I closed a couple of my windows. It doesn't look like I gave access to this document. Yeah, you know what? Let me just do this real quick and I'll share it with you guys so you guys can see it. Let me pull this up. Okay, 1 second, guys, while I pull up the cost breakdown so you guys can see it. I hope you guys are finding this interesting and helpful. If anybody's thinking about buying and moving, I think this could be a really good like high level discussion to have. I mean, I have a lot more information and I can walk you through all of my pitfalls and learnings for sure. But I think this is probably a good like start. So let's see, where the hell is this document? Here we go. Here it is. All right, my computer's moving really slow, but I'm gonna share it with myself and then opening it on that window. If I can, it's taking a while to open the document. So give me a second, guys. But I'll tell you this, I broke it down in 3 phases, right? So the first phase was the foundation. That's what I was trying to say, the foundation. The second phase is the wall height and the wall and the beams. And the third phase was like the roof and electrical and all of that. Or like before the third phase is supposed to be the electrical. And that's what I want to stay here, which is probably going to be another 2 weeks. We need to send a little bit more of the financing through to complete that work. I hope that helps answer the question. I'm just myself access to the document right now, so that I can close out this other window because it's using up too much computer space and my computer is acting like it's moving really slow. So let me just close this out and do this. Oh, I gave it to the wrong address. Of course I did. I've already closed it. All right, while I work on that, let me answer some more questions so you guys are not just watching me try to find something on the internet. So Jose Cruz is saying, can you put the information about your current contractor somewhere? I can, yes. His name is Paul. I can definitely do that. Was the build super expensive? Yeah, I mean, I'll go through the numbers here in a second so you guys can see. You'll see what the numbers are here. Since I definitely didn't share with the right address. Okay, so let me share my screen again. John Stone is asking, do I smoke cannabis? And Jose is asking, is this a cannabis friendly zone? This conversation has always moves to cannabis at some point in time. Sierra Leone is not technically no. And to answer John's question, I do consume cannabis from time to time. Yes, that's not something is very easy to come by in the way that I prefer to consume it. So not as much as I did when I was in Los Angeles. I prefer cannabis over alcohol. Oh, so let me share my screen really quickly so you can see. So here's what we're looking at. So the foundation costs about $3,500. So this is the wall height and beams. So my original contractor 44 million he owns is usually about 4,000. It's about $4,000. 44 million translates to about $4,000 roughly, right? So that was the original price that he gave me in let's see, was it okay? So May 24th was the date that I got this pricing. He was so slow to getting things done. The foundation was not completed until January 2nd. On May 4th was when he gave me the estimate for all of this, right? Which is why I had to fire him. But I wasn't going to fire him until he finished the work. He finished the work. Now he's out of there. Okay, so just for context, that is the length of time. But what does that mean? That means that it cost me an extra $2,000 for that second phase, right? Because 66 million is about $6,000. So from 4,400 to $6,600. Now the difference between that and my new guy's estimate is my new guy's estimate also includes workmanship. This one didn't. So if you count it, they're actually about the same price. My new guy is about the same price as my old guy. So if you want to know how much we spent so far, this is let's see, 2 million is was it 2 million or 20 million? No, this is 20 million because it was $2,000. So 20 million plus basically. So okay, so we spent about 5,150 out of the 7,300 due. So we got about 2,000 left to finish the wall height and the beams. Before then, the last part of it is the oversight and concrete slabbing, which is basically the ceiling / roof stuff that needs to be done. So that all will be an additional cost, which I need to get an estimate. It looks like it's about to be another $14,000 for that last part. So my new estimate is lower than this. So I got to just compare the two and see why they're so far off. But yeah, the original estimate given by my previous contractor was the last one is going to be 14,000. I think this is off. The math seems to be off somewhere here. Because I don't see anywhere. I think it might be 14 million, not 142 million. I think the number is 14 million. Yeah, if you look at this, yeah, so it's 14 million, which means 14 million is basically $1,400, not $14,000. So I'm pretty sure that number was off. Yeah. So that's the cost. Any questions about any of that? Let me go through some of the rest of the questions here. I'm gonna exit out of this, just being fully transparent with you guys, so you guys can see what that process looks like from my end and how I put it together to ensure that I can follow along and know what's going on every step of the way. I'm actually going to turn that into what you guys were just looking at into a checklist. So it makes it a little easier, especially when the big house is getting worked on and like we're going to need to check off everything and it's going to cost some money. So yeah. Nima says, thanks for doing these videos and glad you're better, Joe. Got to head out. See you next live. Thanks, Nima, for joining. No Narrative says, will you have to import tiles, sinks, similar items from Ghana, or is there a market to buy these items in Sierra Leone? There is a market to buy them in Sierra Leone, so I will be buying them locally. Maybe some things will be purchased in Ghana, but most of the stuff can be found here. The solar company, the solar batteries, all of that can be found here. How much for a Jeep in Sierra Leone? Sean is asking. I mean, I think it depends, right? So I would recommend not buying here, though, to be honest with you, just because you can't get the Carfax and understand the history of the vehicle. And so I would definitely recommend buying elsewhere. But yeah, that's my recommendation. John Stone, this conversation has devolved into consumption of what would I say, controlled substances. So no, I do not do magic mushrooms. Not really into hallucinogens unless I'm with a spirit guide of some sort and I want to do ayahuasca or something like that, but that's not on the cards anytime soon. So no, I do not do magic mushrooms. Empress Case says, wow, that's not expensive at all. That is the boys' quarters though. That's not the main house, right? So we're only talking about a boys' quarters, which is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom flat apartment type situation with a kitchen and a living room, or like a kitchenette, really, not a kitchen, a kitchenette, and a little like living room type area. So yeah, I mean, not too expensive considering the cost of some other things. But yeah, that is the cost of the boys' quarters. Now the main house, we're gonna have to, the main house is gonna be 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms on each floor. So you can imagine that's gonna be probably a 2 to 4 year project, depending on my income over the next couple of years. So we gotta make sure this YouTube channel grows, and I continue to expand my business ventures here on the continent. All right, cool. Guys, we went into a lot of detail today. We're about an hour and 15 minutes in. We've now gotten a chance to see the progress on the house on the live. I've been talking about it a ton, but you guys haven't gotten a chance to see it. So now you got a chance to see it. This coming week's vlog is going to be for the first 2 weeks of the year. And so that is it's going to be all encompassing. It's going to show you everything that we just talked about now, but with actual footage, video footage of me walking through and showing you it. You're going to also get a chance to see what happened last week with this whole situation with the AFCON, and me watching the game with a couple of friends and watching the Ivory Coast game. So you'll get a chance to see what that looked like live and how exciting that was for us. And then just going to like events and going to different places, going out. So all of that will be in the coming vlog, that's coming out this week. So make sure to check that out. That's going to be, that's weeks 53 and 54 that I've been here longer, but I just had done it based on the first couple of weeks of last year. And so, yeah, that's how it's going to be done. No Narrative is asking, have I seen E? I have not seen E. What do you mean by E? Let me know, because I don't know what you mean by E, but maybe I have, maybe I haven't, unless it's like a movie or a page or something. Shauna is asking, are you near Freetown? I am currently in Goderich right now. But I am always in Freetown. Goderich is kind of Freetown anyway, but yeah, I'm always in town. Like yesterday I was at Decode watching the game with friends. The day before I ended up at Scarlet. Late night at Scarlet. Not advisable to anybody else. But yeah, for sure. In the Freetown area, for sure. And I'm building near Freetown in Regent. All right, cool. Guys, we are at an hour and 18 minutes. I'm gonna leave it open to questions for any more questions. Any last minute questions. I see Instagram folks have tuned out. So we have a couple people still live on YouTube though, still asking questions. So we'll answer those questions here. Noah Narrative says ES in Tamale, Ghana. Tamale, right? Sorry, have you seen ES in Tamale, Ghana? Her build is very nice. She has a tiny farm with chickens and other animals. I have not seen ES. That's another one I need to look into. You've been giving me a bunch of good channels to check out, No Narrative. So let me do that. I keep forgetting to subscribe to those channels, but I had them written down from last week. So I'll definitely be checking out ES's channel to see what they're doing. Cool. Any other? Okay, Shauna Nelson says, cool. I'm just laughing at some of the comments. We have some recreational drug users in today's live, apparently. And so that seems to be on the mind for the folks here. So I think that there's some questions about why the questions are leaning in that direction. Some of the people are new to the live and not used to what topics we talk about here. And so since there was a little bit of conversation about cannabis, I think that might lead to people thinking about having other conversations, which, by the way, means that cannabis is a gateway drug, at least in terms of conversation, clearly. But anyway, I appreciate all of you guys joining. Any other questions for me before we call it a night on this live? What are we at? 10:19 GMT. Any other questions? Destination Africa join. What's up, guys? I am about to sign off the live, but we have to catch up soon. I'm not back in Ghana yet, to the Destination Africa folks. I will be back in a few weeks, but we definitely have to catch up. There's a lot to catch up on for sure. Any other questions? Questions, comments, concerns, discussion points before I close this thing out? I'm going to give it a second because I know that YouTube, because I'm using this platform, it tends to be a little bit delayed. Oh, yes. So just as a reminder, as we look to close this out. Oh, Destination Africa group says they're going to watch the rerun for sure. Awesome. Thank you. So merch is coming, as I said, and I took a lot of you guys' feedback. People said tote bags. I'm talking dad hats, snapbacks, fitted hats. I'm trying to get all of those. I'm also working on hoodies, t-shirts in white, black, tan, and I think coffee was the other color. Somebody said white, black. There was 2 more colors. Anyway, I have them written down. So all of those are coming. The logo is going to be the first run of the merch, the Authentic African logo. I'm also thinking about doing different African quotes, like African proverbs, and also quotes from different African leaders. And so in different interesting ways. So all of that is coming for sure. I'm going to need to work with the designer to get it right on any of the more advanced stuff, but definitely working on all of that. Because I need to raise some funds so that I can keep building this house. You guys know. So Disco Dan is asking, is my channel monetized yet? So technically, and so for all of you guys who don't know, my channel was monetized for a while. For YouTube, what they do is you have to have 4,000 watch hours and you have to have 1,000 subscribers. I had 1,000 subscribers by June of last year, and by August, I hit the 1,000 watch hours, which, by the way, is thanks to all of you who have been sharing. And now what's crazy is I do, over 1,000 watch hours a month, it looks like, almost. So, the channel is really growing, and I really appreciate all of you guys' support. But in order to continue monetization, YouTube physically mails you a PIN number that you need to enter into the Google platform online in order for them to continue to, for you to be in the partner program. I had it mailed to me twice, and in both instances, I never received it. One was sent to my apartment building, which, of course, that nobody knows where it is, and they never received it. The other one was sent to the office, and I was told last time I checked that they could not find any. They never got anything for me. So, unfortunately, you can only do it 3 times before they say they're not going to send it to you anymore because they don't believe that you're a real person or you might be a terrorist or whatever. So, I have to be very careful with where I'm going to have it sent next. So I'm talking to different people who I know who are YouTubers in Ghana, because it has to be where you started the channel. That's where you have to ship it. And I started Authentic African February 1st, 2021, when I was in Ghana. So, of course, that's where I have to have the PIN shipped to. So it's a long way to answer your question. Once the PIN gets shipped, then I can start being monetized again through the partner program. Until I get the PIN and enter it, I cannot do that. And so I'm still working on figuring out where it can be shipped to, because I'm on my last try before they give up and don't ever allow me to monetize my channel. So I have some people, and I'll talk about this next weekend or next week, but some interesting people I'm really excited about are potentially coming to Sierra Leone this week. If what I've been told is true, they have more prominent YouTube channels than I do. You guys are all familiar with these people. And so if they are here in Sierra Leone, I may have to pick their brains about how they're going to do it. But no, my channel's not monetized right now, but I'm still putting out this content. I'm still going live every day because for me, it's not just about getting money from YouTube. It's about the value that I'm bringing to you guys. So I decided not to just stop putting up videos or stop going live just because I'm not getting monetized right now. Because I think that that's unfair to everyone who has questions and wants to learn more about what's happening. Because that's really why I'm doing this. Of course, obviously, I'd like to get paid as part of the process. I mean, let's be honest, you know, who doesn't want to be compensated for the amount of work that I'm doing? But the main focus is the value that I can bring to you guys. And so, but that's why I'm also looking into alternative means of potentially raising funds for this channel so that I can go live on better streaming services. I can have better mics, better equipment. As the channel grows, interview more popular people who you guys might want to hear with, who've made the move back here from the diaspora, musicians, people like that. Those are the things that I want to work on. And so, you know, raising funds and building the channel are all those things that will allow me to do that. Okay. No Narrative says that sucks. If you were monetized in the West, the ad money is so much better. Yeah, well, no. So it's really based on where people are watching is how you get paid. It doesn't really matter where you start your channel. It just matters who's watching, right? So for instance, right, because if you think about it, YouTube is sharing in the advertising with the content creators. So YouTube can sell content that people are watching in the United States at a higher CPM or cost per milli or cost per 1,000 people than they can for people watching in Ghana, for instance. So as you might have noticed when I was asking where everybody is, most of the people who subscribe to my channel, I think over 50% of the people who subscribe, well, total over 50% are in the US. I think another 10 or 20% or so is in the UK and Canada, and then the rest are on the continent of Africa. And so when I monetize, it will be at the rates of most US-based people because most of the people who subscribe to my channel are in the US. So that luckily is a good thing. Unfortunately, they're just not really paying YouTube content creators very well on the continent, and most of your followers are on the continent, just because advertisers aren't willing to spend as much money in Africa as they are in other parts of the world. You know, I come from an advertising background, so I'm pretty familiar with this stuff. And since I also do now advertising as my day job, once again here in Africa, I'm actually seeing how cheap advertisers can be here. And it's crazy to see, but they are quite cheap. Like we're talking big brands, Unilever, L'Oreal, not everywhere. I mean, in Morocco and some other places, they can spend some significant amounts of money. Kenya and in Nigeria, but at least in Ghana, they're very cheap. So yeah, so No Narrative says, I understand. Okay, I always hear African YouTubers talk about wanting views in the West. Yeah, that's why, because it's just advertisers. It's where the advertisers are giving YouTube money. It's just, yeah. So the US is where advertisers pay YouTube the most. And then I think maybe UK is second. It's really just based on how many advertisers you have, which increases your demand for the advertising inventory you have in that region. And then, of course, who the viewers are and what the content is. All of that goes into the pricing. Okay. What's up? Joanna just joined. My sister, Joanna. She just joined the live. Shout out to you. She joined the live on Instagram. I'm actually closing down the live now. Is there anything else that anybody has? Any last questions before we go? I think most people on Instagram have already jumped off. It looks like many people are on YouTube are starting to fade out a bit. I'm also starting to fade. We're now an hour and 29 minutes into this live. So I think we're going to call it a quits in about a minute or so. But Lila says, thank you for sharing. Was fun and interesting watching. Keep up the good work. Hope to catch you live again soon. Okay, yes, please do. So I do go live every Monday, 9 p.m. GMT without fail. This is now something like the 30th week or so that I've gone live. Oh, it's actually Jaden from my sister's channel. What's up, Jaden? My nephew, Jaden. 14, right? Jaden, you 14 or 15? 14 or 15. But Jaden's watching from my sister's Instagram. What's up, Jaden? So yeah, so I go live every Monday, 9 p.m. GMT without fail. And I'm going to attempt to do that no matter where I am in the world, no matter what's going on. Oh, Jaden's 15. Wow, how does time fly? No matter where I am in the world, no matter what's going on, I do want to go live because, again, I think this is the best way to communicate with you guys, answer your questions, and help people understand what it's like to move here. All right, before we go, any questions? Jaden, do you have any questions on Instagram Live? Since you're watching on Instagram Live, do you have any questions for me? Type it in the chat if you do. Helen Brown is asking if I'm still in Sierra Leone. Yes, I am. I am still in Sierra Leone, at least for another week after this one is over. It may be longer, but I think I'll be here at least till the end of next weekend. So I think I have 2 more weekends here at the very least, maybe more. No Narrative says, see you next week. See you next week. No Narrative. Thanks for joining. All right, cool. So it looks like there are no more questions. So I want to thank you guys all for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. When you subscribe, hit that notification bell and hit all. So that way you know every time a new video comes out. And of course, make sure you share it with your friends, anybody who's planning to move here, anybody who's thinking about visiting. I think all this information will be helpful to them. And I think you'll be doing them a service by offering them this info and sharing this with them. So with that, thanks for watching. See you all in the next video.